Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be your messages for the month of February 2019. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you who are celebrating. Very interesting energies. Majority of the signs, if not everyone that I've done, has had a lot of information about how to heal our hearts. And my intention is, as always, and I will repeat this again, my intention is to help you see certain things perhaps that you were not able to see before, and to help you perhaps recognize certain thought patterns. My passion is to help you think differently about yourself so that you can align yourself more in terms of abundance. So what a beautiful time to talk about healing our hearts, because February, traditionally speaking, is considered to be the month of love, at least in North America. So there's a lot of information on what might be tripping you up, how you are holding yourself hostage, what makes you stuck in your own inner prison, and what are some of the things that you can do in order to shift and change that, in order to attract love, abundance, prosperity, health, whatever it may be. So in some of the signs, there were exercises that were given to you from spirit, so you might want to listen to the other signs. At the end of the day, keep in mind that we all have attributes of all the signs. So if you're drawn to a certain sign that you're not necessarily one, just listen to your intuition and see if there's anything you can gain from there. At the end of the day, my aim is to help and enlighten you in a way that allows you to become a much more empowered being. With that said, if there is anything that doesn't make sense to you when you listen to it, do listen to it again down the road. I always say these messages will make sense to high majority of you as time goes on. The messages that I give, or the information that comes through, is very much relating to everything that we all experience, human condition. So you may be drawn to a different sign that you're not necessarily listening to, but something inside you says, hey, listen to it. You listen to it, and boom, that's your situation. Anyway, thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. Do let me know how these messages connect with you. I am using a different camera this time, so some of the messages you'll notice I'm switching between two different cameras. The angles are different on my camera, so sometimes I look in different places, and if that's the case, my apologies. I am not used to this new equipment yet, so it may not be as smooth as I wanted to, so just bear with me. As time goes on, I will perfect it. Again, thank you so much. I wish you best of luck for private sessions. For private sessions, that information is down below for you. And if you would like to see the longer projections for 6 months, that information is down below for you on Vimeo. Thank you again so much. My name is Joanna the Medium. I wish you a wonderful month of February, and let's get going. Hello, beautiful Sagittarians. These are going to be your messages for the month of February 2019. As I am tapping into your energies, I am already being shown the first message, and that is to be very tender with your emotions at this time. I'm also being asked to say, shh. Many of you need the space of quietness in your busy lives in order to, number one, rest and rejuvenate, but also to get closer to a space inside of yourself where you can begin to remember who you truly are. For when you remember who you truly are, you begin to realize that you are all you will ever need. In other words, you will begin to realize yourself, your full potential. Is that what I'm trying to say? You will begin to have a realization. The closer you get to your own truth of who you are as a being, you will begin to recognize that the aspects of you that you thought were missing, not good enough, not adequate enough, whatever it may be, is all just an illusion. And when you begin to see this clearly for yourself, and when you begin to feel the truth of what that is, your old ways of thinking, your old paradigm, your entire vibrational system or resonance will begin to shift, which means your current circumstances that are built on an less than authentic self will begin to crumble. So this is a beautiful message of healing that's taking place, and your sign is no different than all the other signs I have recorded messages for, and it all seems to be themed around healing our own heart, healing our own emotions, which brings us closer to that which we truly are, which are unlimited beings. Now, the concept of self is derived from the identity we give ourselves, and our identity is the result of our experiences, which are our truth. And then we begin to call ourselves various things. We are this or that. We have this or that. We are good. We are not good. We are happy. We're not happy. We are adequate. We're inadequate. Whatever your concept of self is, it originated in something from somewhere in your life, usually earlier on. The reason why I'm saying this is because, again, your sign, like most of the others, has the opportunity to rid yourself of falsified sense of belief. What does it mean, falsified sense of belief? In other words, your current perception of self, particularly one that is rooted in the essence of lack, is a false perception of who you are. It's a perception, but it's a false perception for you. You cannot, by the virtue of who you are as a being, you cannot be lacking. It is impossible for you to lack. You may have a perception of your current context that you are lacking certain things, but when you fully understand who you truly are as a being, as a divine being, as a source of energy, as pure light, you do not lack anything. Your experience is currently telling you you're lacking something, but that is based on your perception of what you believe. So that's a lot of wise words that are being spoken. But I feel I'm saying this because I'm getting you ready to experience what seems to be coming next to a lot of you. And that is, first and foremost, in order for you to feel free, to feel happy, to feel abundant, to feel loved, to feel whatever the good things that we want, in order for you to feel that, you first have to give yourself the permission to receive it. And some of you might go, well, what does that mean? That you have my permission to receive? Yes, but most of the things that we want are based on our logical and conscious understanding of what our situation is. Oftentimes, we don't have awareness of the subconscious aspect of what really makes us tick. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because month of February or thereabouts seems to be opening doors to many of us, including you, whereby there will be opportunities that will help you reclaim yourself back to where you belong. Where you belong? Well, you belong to in a space where there's wholeness, where there is balance, and where there is harmony inside of you. That's where we all come from. We come from that space. Momentarily in a human body, we become delusional and we believe our truth is what we see, but that's only our current level of perception at the time. Point is, in order for you to have the things that you want, love, money, abundance, relationship, health, you first have to want it for the right reasons. I'll explain that. But also you have to give yourself permission. Now, why would we not give permission to good things in our life? Well, many reasons. One, it stems from the ability to think that we are somehow not good enough, and therefore, as an example, If we're not good enough, we can't have all these things. This is a trained thought that has a corresponding belief that is rooted in the idea of lack as a result of us having perceived certain scenarios and conditions that made us feel a certain way. So, majority of the people I work with, and you will be no different, want love, for example. However, a majority of the same individuals want love, but their subconscious belief system says, I can't have it. Either because you didn't experience it when you were growing up, you experienced lack of it, you experienced inconsistencies, you experienced a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, and you begin to get the idea that life, well, when it comes to love, it sucks. And that kind of solidified your belief system. You put a lock on it, you close the lock, you threw away the key, and off you went, create your life. Chances are, if you are listening to this, and if it makes sense to you, and it will to most people, you've come to a point where you're realizing that whatever is in your life right now is not enough. And it's not necessarily because you don't have enough things. I mean, we always want more things, but it is more a feeling that there is something inside of you that says, there's got to be more to this than what I have right now. In other words, there's a feeling inside of you that says, this isn't everything, there's got to be more. And there may be a confusion based on that feeling because, well, you have that feeling, but what do you do with it? Especially if you don't know what it is that's missing. You know something is missing, but you don't know what's missing. So I feel a lot of you are in that space, emotionally speaking. You kind of are in this emotional roller coaster a bit. Now, this could be because you are in a situation that has outlived its purpose, and there is this inner dynamic going on that says, gotta move on. This could be because you are in a job situation that you derive no satisfaction from whatsoever. It serves its purpose because you get paid, but even that doesn't seem to be enough anymore. And there is this inner thing says inside of you that there is something more. Now, the human element of you, the ego that is rooted in safety and security and stability says, I'm not changing anything. I don't know what's over there. I get I get paid. It's good enough. I'm not moving. And you seem to have these two opposing sides of you, one that wants more and one that is comfortable with the status quo. That can create an inner war or an inner turmoil because it will feel like you are being pulled apart in seemingly two different directions. So why am I saying this? Because what I've just explained represents the beginnings of a dynamic change. Change in our outside, it comes first from changes happening within. And most of you know that we are all magnets. Our emotions is what magnetically attracts our experiences to us. So no, I'm not saying that people cause themselves to be sick. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that. And I'm not saying that people causing themselves to be abused. Absolutely not. But in a bigger scheme of things, in a grander scheme of things, this is how we create our reality. It is based on our usually subconscious perception. So why am I saying all this? Well, I'm saying all this because many of you are arriving at the point of your own evolution of self where you are beginning to recognize certain things and you are beginning to have a chat with yourself inside of you that says, I want to choose something different. I want to experience something different. I want to experience love in all its glory. I want to have a better job. I want to have a partner who is committed. I want to have all these wonderful things that I don't have. But in order for you to experience all those things, you first have to become a magnet for it. So thought is creative, emotion is magnetic, which means thought is a spark, the corresponding thought that is the emotional, or the thought that has the corresponding emotional component is what draws the experience to us. So if we have frequent thoughts, for example, if we have frequent thoughts of wanting a lot of money, for example, but our emotional connection to money is one that comes from a place of lack. Let's say you were born into a family where there was not a lot of money, and you heard your parents always say, there's never enough, there's never enough, there's never enough, and they struggled with money as just a basic example. And you seeing this over and over, you begin to understand that the world, when it comes to money, there is just not enough. Boom, there is your experience, and there is your subconscious belief system. Now, when we get older and we go out and create our world, obviously we don't think that on regular basis. We don't pay attention to it most of the time, but it is the connection subconsciously we have with the thing that we want. So notice the things that you want in your time of meditation, in a quiet space where you can close your eyes, you can relax, and you can calm down your mind. And then imagine having the experience that you're after, and notice how you feel towards that experience. Whatever comes up for you, this is a good exercise for you guys to do. Whatever comes up for you in terms of emotions is neither good or bad, but it's valid. There's no such thing as not true feeling. Your feeling is always true. What you do with it and how the feeling is derived, your perception, that's up for discussion, but your feeling never lies. Your feeling is what it is, and it tells you where you're at any given time. So for example, if you imagine yourself having a lot of money, notice if any feelings come up to the surface that make you feel a level of discomfort. Some of you may feel a pushing sensation that you want to push whatever you're looking at, the money away. For some of you, you may feel like your throat is being, like you feel stuckness in your throat, and the very idea of money makes you very uncomfortable. For some of you, you may feel this knot in your stomach when you envision the idea of you having lots of money. Those are dead giveaways of the emotional belief that you have that is attached to the thing you want. Therefore, if you have all these things come up to you, they may help and explain why you have difficulty with having what you want. Because in this example, if your relationship with money is rooted in negativity, or I'm going to call it different, in lack, then that is your representation of what money means to you. In other words, to you, money equals lack. That's the subconscious connection. Therefore, it is only natural that you will repel money from you, because to you, money equals lack. Not logically, not consciously, subconsciously, based on your belief. So this is an exercise that would be good for you to do, whether you are wanting love, whether you are wanting money, whether you are wanting abundance, health, whatever it is important to understand the underlying conditions in terms of the emotions, because it is the emotion that is attached to what it is that you're after that will end up creating that experience. On the other side of the coin, if you are experiencing a vision of money and your heart is open and you have no uncomfortable feelings about it, then it would be very beneficial for you to spend time and energy in order to create the vibration of you attracting that money or love or abundance to you. Which means, rather than thinking of not having it, spend more time in creating a vision of what it is, what it will feel like when you have it. So this is something that Spirit wanted me to share with you. You're the first sign, I believe, that I went into this detail with. So do this exercise and notice what you get. Now, I'm just going to move on with the cards quickly. So now, the reason why I gave you that exercise is because it will help you determine, number one, where you're stuck, but number two, why you are stuck. And particularly for those of you who are wanting to create a loving relationship, especially if you're used to ones that were less than good, doing this exercise may show you the unconscious belief system when it comes to the idea of love. And when you begin to have that awareness, you can then begin to take the step towards creating a different emotional connection to love. I know all of you want to know how. I think that's another video. And actually, I'll make a note of maybe making that video just as a separate video. But that's an exercise for you guys to do. Okay, what are we leaving behind? Brilliant. If this is an indication of healing, I don't know what is. Queen of Cups in reverse. So Queen, yes, symbolizes female, but this is not what it means to me. To me, it symbolizes that if you have felt emotionally out of control, emotionally out of balance, emotionally not in charge of your life, not in charge of your emotions, somebody else being in charge of you giving other people having control over you, this is leaving you. If you have given your authority about you to someone else, meaning if you have given permission to other people to treat you with disrespect, and you have allowed this to continue for quite some time, naturally your emotional self will feel somewhat confined. So this is a message that tells me, or a sign that tells me, that many of you are choosing to let go of your suppressed emotional conditioning. What do I mean by this? Well, if you have been conditioned to feel less than, to feel emotionally imbalanced, to feel that you are not adequate, whatever it is in terms of lack, I feel many of you are choosing to no longer participate in that belief. And when we choose to not participate in a belief any longer, what we are essentially doing is we are choosing to not action our belief. What does that mean? For example, that was a lot of energy. For example, if you are used to someone treating you with disrespect, then your belief system must say, this is somehow the norm. This is appropriate, even though logically you know it's not. You have been conditioned to accept it. When we begin to break that belief, it essentially means we begin to create boundaries where we will not allow other people to step over our boundaries. So we are actioning our new belief. We are saying, no, we are important. And as a result of me believing that I am important, I'm going to put steps, I'm going to create framework in my life that says I am important. And boundaries is one of those things. So if you have had low boundaries in the past with other people, you are beginning to grow a backbone. That's what I want to say. If you have been drinking your emotions away, or if you have been involved in any sort of activity that drowns your emotions, or that creates a temporary emotional freeze on emotions, I feel many of you are choosing to no longer use that as an escape from your feelings. So I don't feel this card necessarily depicts addictions in a traditional tarot meaning, but this is what I'm getting. Fantastic. This to me is a huge message of reclamation, you reclaiming your own, you reclaiming yourself. What might you be expecting in the month of February? The Two of Coins in reverse tells me that you may be experiencing temporary lack of choices, or lack of resources. Yes, it could be in terms of money, but this is more in terms of taking steps towards a certain outcome. Let me just see if I can get this a little bit clearer. When I tune into this card, I feel I have no options. I feel slightly stuck. I feel I'm not sure where I am. But considering what is transpiring, which means you are coming out of your own confinement, when you get yourself to the space of feeling free, so to speak, it can feel a little bit unnerving because it's a completely new way of being. I think I gave this metaphor to a different sign. So the metaphor comes up is this. It has been shown time and time again that people who spend a lot of time in jail or incarcerated, let's say somebody has been incarcerated for 30 years, they come out after 30 years, chances are extremely high that this person is going to come back to jail because that's all they know and that's all they understand. And even though it is not free, they've come to expect what to expect. They come to know what to expect. And when they get out of jail, all this freedom makes them feel actually very, very scared. So they will subconsciously create an experience to get them back into a very familiar place. Even though it's a place of confinement, it is a place of familiarity. So you may be experiencing a temporary discomfort in terms of choices and decisions. I also feel that the month of February is not necessarily a month of a lot of doing or actioning. I feel like it's a month, if possible, for you to pull away from your struggles and your daily routines and almost observe your life as if you're observing somebody else's story. And notice when you observe yourself as if you're watching a story, what it is that's missing in your life and what it is that you do in repetitive ways that ultimately really doesn't align true with who you are. That's what I'm being asked to say about this message. The other card that came up was the Seven of Swords, and I was having a bit of a difficulty with this. And what I get here is, this is thoughts. And although I believe traditionally this card represents that somebody may be stealing your ideas, that is not what I get. What I get here is that many of you will, when you're experiencing temporary lack of opportunities or lack of choices, I want you to examine your belief system in terms of your thinking about abundance, which is also choices. In other words, if your critical thinking is conditioned that there is not enough, we will have a tendency not only to hoard things, but you will use certain things in order to escape from feeling lack. Addictions is what comes to mind here. So if you're experiencing temporary lack in the month of February or so, if you are feeling slightly off balance, if you are feeling slightly off kilter, you may be drawn to things that ultimately sabotage what you want. You may be drawn to repetitive not exercises, to repetitive exercises? No. You may be drawn to things that are ultimately more harmful than good for you, like drinking, smoking, overeating, because you're trying to deal with your emotions and with your lack thoughts. That's kind of how I want to put it. It kind of feels a little bit awkward, but that is how I want to leave this with you. Now, I'm going to move on to the next card because this is really what I'm excited about. At the end of the day, all of this is leading you to the Six of Wands. So this is the traditional card of victory. Yes, this is in career. Yes, this is in love. Yes, this is in inspiration and passion. But this is an overall feeling in terms of what you feel inside. You see this person standing on a balcony. He, looks like it's a he, is representing someone who is in control. It is, he's shown to me as someone who is victorious, someone who's done a lot of hard work in order to arrive where he is. There's a lot of safety and security with this in terms of red. That's the first chakra. And I'm also seeing a lot of gold and yellow. And there's a tremendous level of sheer will towards achieving what one wants. But it doesn't go without its own difficult moments. In other words, every victory is usually met with some disappointments first. That's why it feels like a victory, because we had to go through the lack of having it in order to then have the appreciation of that victory. That's why it's a victory. It's victory because it feels good. It's different. It's more substantial than what we had. So whatever you're going through in terms of psychologically, physiologically, something happening in your life, you creating brand new commitment to yourself, and you choosing to look at your emotions and no longer hide from them. Whatever it is for you, whatever journey you're going through, whatever you are going to be implementing in terms of positive thinking, this is where it's leading you. This is an omen of success, but it is success after hard work. Okay? At the end of the day, we do not appreciate things we do not work hard for. It's just how we humans are wired. When it comes easy, we appreciate it, but it's not the same level of appreciation as when we have to put effort in order to attain it. As a matter of fact, when we learn the most when we go through challenges and difficulties. That's just the way it works. So this is a fantastic omen for you to have. I'm going to move really quickly because I feel like I've been going on for a while. What might be standing in your way? Several things. Very interesting. Pushing the envelope and control, the illusion of control. So some of you might be dealing with control issues where you have a tendency to want to control everything, and the universe is asking you to let go of control. Now, if you are someone who comes from the idea of lack, emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever it may be, mentally, in order for you to create some stability, you resorted to asserting control in your life, because when you're in control, or so you think, there's less likelihood that things will go sideways. Well, when we control things so much that it becomes rigid, we're actually not allowing ourselves to have a whole bunch of other beautiful experiences because our control is so tight. We have this tight grip on what it is that we're trying to achieve that we are what's the word? We are missing on other opportunities that may be beautiful. I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. I'm having a little bit difficulty pushing through this through these messages, but if you have any challenges with control, you're being urged to notice where it comes from. Why is it so important for you to control? And then see how you can let go of some of that control. Pushing this and the envelope is another message that says, go past your comfort zone. Again, nothing worth anything comes without some effort. There's a very consistent message that I'm hearing, and that is when we are aligned emotionally in the right way. And when I say right, I mean in the way that allows us to experience what we want. Things, situations, and the emotions that we are after seem to come with a lot less effort. But the initial work takes time and commitment to ourselves. And that's because when we shift our point of view, we are shifting our perception, which begins to change our beliefs. Our beliefs have the attached emotional component, but we also we action our beliefs. In other words, our beliefs are attached to certain behaviors. When we begin to change our behaviors, particularly ones that we've done for a long time, it takes a while to get used to, because we're coming out of our norm. We're coming out of our comfort zone. We're coming out of something that we've done on a repetitive basis, and it didn't require that much attention. Anything that is new takes time to get used to, and it takes time to develop a brand new foundation. I feel like there's a huge message here that says, in order for you to get what you want, you first have to realize how you're committed to it right now, or what your emotional connection to is right now. And then if the emotional connection is not aligned with what you want, in other words, if it's rooted in lack or negativity, you need to begin to shift that connection. And that usually means not only changing the way you think, but also how you action what you think, how you action your beliefs. Example, if you have been used to you giving yourself away in relationships to the point where by the time the relationship is done, you've got nothing to give, then you need to begin to see how, number one, it's not serving you, but number two, how not to do it next time around, and begin to practicing that knowledge and begin to put certain things into motion that will then begin to create brand new belief system about you. I hope I'm making sense. Is there anything else I need to say to them? I'm going to say this. 3 of Cups is a message that says congratulations to me. So this is coming. It's time for celebration. I feel many of you, March comes up, many of you are going to feel substantially more about yourself in the next few upcoming months. Now, when you hear this right now, when you hear me say this, it may not make a lot of sense to you. You may be going, yeah, those are just words. But mark my words when I say by the end of June or July, majority of you will understand what it is that I'm talking about. Because we are entering territory, vibrationally speaking, where we are being not pushed, because nobody's pushing us. We are naturally becoming, the finer energies are naturally are entering our dimension. Am I saying that right? Am I saying that right? Kind of, sort of. I think a lot of you know it. I'm really struggling with this, you guys can tell. Point is, the more we begin to vibrate higher, the more the lower vibrating components of us will be pushed up to the surface. When it's pushed up to the surface, it gives us visibility that we have it. Once we have it and it's uncomfortable enough, then we usually do something about it. So if there's anything that comes up for you in terms of you noticing your patterns, noticing certain connections you have to certain things that you want, that is, although it may be uncomfortable at first, realize that when you have something invisible, you can then begin to change it and shift it. That's how I'm going to leave it. Cleaning house, is that what it says? Cleaning house, yes, is another message that basically says it's time to get rid of what no longer serves you. Any clutter in your home, this is obviously in your home or figuratively speaking, this room represents to me your mind. See all these things sticking out of the drawers. These are things that are old. The drawer is overfilled. There's too much junk that, makes the room look very cluttered. This is your mind. This is your window of you looking out. So there is some clarity here, but there's a bit of cloud. I also see that what it looks to me be either, it's not spring, it's fall or winter. Spring is when new growth begins to take place. We are not in spring yet. So I feel that this is a very opportune time for you to get rid of clutter that no longer serves you, figuratively speaking, and in your physical life, so that come spring, you can begin to start creating fresh new opportunities. Examine the judgments you have about yourself and the judgments you have of others. Whatever judgments you have of yourself is what contributes to you lacking whatever it is that you're after. My brain is trying to figure this out. I'm not going to figure it out till later, but I'm going to just kind of leave that with you and let you think about it and see what that means to you. All right. I think that's all I'm going to say. Interesting messages, little bit topsy-turvy, but perhaps this is how you're going to feel in the month of February. Again, if that's the case, it's temporary. You noticed how I was kind of all over the place? I feel some of you may feel that energetically and emotionally. Again, if it happens to be that way, know that because things are changing and shifting, your prior stability, whatever your status quo was, seems to be no longer. And that can feel a little bit unnerving. So just plug through it. No, plow through it the best you can. Come March and April, I feel things are going to start feeling quite a bit better. Okay, I think I'm going to leave this with you. And thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. This was an interesting message. I hope this makes sense to you at some point. It will definitely make sense to you at some point, even if it's not in February, it will be perhaps in March. Some of you may have already been going through this for quite some time. At the end of the day, if I can leave you with something to think about, if I can leave you with a slightly different perception of something that's important to you, then I have accomplished my goal in helping you shift, because with shift comes shift of experiences. Of course, for private session, that information is down below. Thank you again so much. I wish you best of luck. Happy February. Happy Valentine's to you if you are celebrating. And most of all, take care of yourself and good luck.